You know that moment in a conversation, right, where someone says, well, that's just your truth? It's like a conversation stopper, a brick wall. Today, we're going to cut right through that fog. We're going to figure out what truth really is and why getting this right is absolutely essential for making any sense of the world.
So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to take apart that whole my truth idea. Then, we'll build up a solid, real definition of truth. After that, we'll see what happens when our beliefs smack up against reality. We'll look at the basic rules of thinking, tackle the big cultural idea that truth is all about power, and finally, we'll get to the ultimate foundation of truth itself. Let's get into it.
Okay, so first up, the my truth problem. Look, I get why people say it. It sounds inclusive, right? Personal. But when you really think about it, it's mixing up two totally different things. It takes something that's supposed to be objective and turns it into just a feeling. And honestly, that makes real communication almost impossible.
I mean, really, what does that phrase even mean? If I have my truth and you have your truth and they completely contradict each other, what then? Where do we go? If truth is just a personal preference, like your favorite ice cream flavor, then we can't have a real discussion about anything that actually matters. It's a total dead end.
So to get out of that dead end, we've got to go back to square one. We need a shared, concrete definition. We need to agree on what we're even talking about when we use the word truth. So let's build that foundation right now.
The dictionary actually gives us a perfect, simple starting point. Truth is just the state of being the case. Or, to put it another way, it's a fact. It has nothing to do with how we feel, what we wish was happening, or our personal experience. It's about what is. Simple as that.
Now, this basic idea is what philosophers call the Correspondence Theory of Truth. Don't let the fancy name fool you. It's just common sense. All it means is that a belief you have or a statement you make is true if it matches up, if it corresponds with reality. Let me show you exactly what I mean with a super simple example. Okay, just picture this in your mind. A red ball is sitting on a table. That's it. This is the objective fact of the situation. It's there whether anyone is in the room to see it or not.
All right, so that's reality. Now, here's where you come in. You walk into the room, you look at the table, and you form a belief in your mind. I believe a red ball is on the table. So now we have two things, the reality and your belief about the reality.
And here's the crucial part. Your belief is only true if it actually corresponds with reality. If there really is a red ball on the table, then bingo, your belief is true. But if that ball is actually blue, or if it's a cube, or if there's no ball at all, then your belief is false. It doesn't matter how much you sincerely believe it. Truth is that beautiful overlap between what you believe and what actually is. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A red ball on a table, big deal. But this isn't just a silly philosophical game. This has massive, real-world implications. Because you see, there are times when reality really doesn't care what we believe. There are times when reality pushes back hard.
And this is the key distinction we have to get straight. Objectivity is about things that exist independent of us. Gravity is a great example. It's there whether you believe in it or not. Subjectivity, on the other hand, is all about our personal feelings and interpretations. Is this song good? Does pineapple belong on pizza? The whole problem we're talking about today is what happens when we start treating objective facts like they're subjective opinions.
So let's raise the stakes. Let's move on from the red ball to something with, well, immediate and painful consequences. The new scenario is this. A person is about to touch an open flame. Okay, now imagine this person stands there and says with 100% sincerity, my truth is that this fire is not hot. They might truly believe it. They might genuinely feel that it's not going to hurt them. But does their feeling change the laws of physics? Of course not. And this quote just says it all perfectly. The heat of that fire is an objective fact. It doesn't matter what your personal truth is. If you touch the fire, you're going to get burned. Period. Reality pushes back, and its consequences are definitely not up for debate.
Okay, so if truth is about lining up with an orderly reality, how do we make sure our thinking is, well, orderly? That's where the laws of logic come into play. And don't think of these as some man-made rules. Think of them as the guardrails of reality itself. See, these aren't just dry rules from some old philosophy book. The laws of logic are basically a description of how reality itself is built. They are the non-negotiable bedrock for any meaningful thought or conversation. Seriously, without them, language just breaks down into meaningless noise.
There are three really basic laws that we all use every single day, whether we know it or not. First, the law of non-contradiction.
That red ball can't be both 100% red and not red at the same time. Makes sense, right? Second, the law of the excluded middle. The ball is either red or it is not red. There's no secret third option. And finally, the law of identity. A thing is what it is. The red ball is the red ball. These simple truths are the foundation of all rational thought.
All right, now we need to address a really big idea in our culture that challenges everything we've just laid out. It's this idea that there's no such thing as objective truth, and that what we call truth is really just a story created by people in power, or something that's totally defined by our personal identity. And if you follow that thinking all the way down the road, it means we lose any shared basis for right and wrong. If everything is just subjective, then morality becomes a matter of taste. As this quote puts it, everyone is free to develop a morality that fits their lifestyle. And you can imagine where that leads.
But here's the thing. There's a fatal flaw in that whole worldview. The statement, all truth is subjective, is presented as an objective truth that's supposed to apply to everyone, right? But if that statement itself is objectively true, then it contradicts itself, because it means at least one objective truth exists. The statement itself, it's a self-refuting idea. It logically collapses. And C.S. Lewis gave a pretty stark warning about this. He said, a society that abandons objective values is a society that will eventually perish.
So this brings us to the final and most important question. We've seen that truth corresponds to a reality that's orderly, that's logical, that operates by consistent rules. But that just begs the biggest question of all.
Why? Why is reality like this? Why isn't the universe just a swirling, chaotic, unknowable mess? Why is it that our minds, using these very laws of logic, can actually figure things out about the world? I mean, where did all of this beautiful, predictable order come from?
You know, the most compelling answer is that the universe is rational because it was made by a rational creator. The reason we can discover truth is because we are not just a cosmic accident. We are made in the image of a God who is himself the very definition of truth, and he designed us and the world we live in to be able to know him and the truth he created. And really, that's the bottom line. In a world that so often feels confused and adrift, this is the anchor. Objective truth isn't just a nice philosophical theory. It's real because God is real. And the best news in all of this is that this truth, it can be known.